I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is the Jewell Hollow Overlook. Nice big parking lot here. I'll get a couple of shots over there in a minute. This is mile marker 36, and I'm going to head over this way and get on the Appalachian Trail and hike a stretch of this to the south down to the Stony Man Overlook. It's a section I haven't hiked before. Yep, there it is, my little red car. The elevation here is 3325. Okay, well there's no trailhead marker, but the parking lot at Jewell Hollow is right down there. And you just push your way into the woods here, just a few yards, and there's the Appalachian Trail marker. And we are going to go to the left and head south. .3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3370, and I'm still on the AT. We're getting ready to circle around behind the Pinnacles picnic area down near Skyline Drive. Here's the Appalachian Trail where I came from. Up this way is Pinnacles picnic area, and we're going to continue on around counterclockwise around behind the picnic area here. Hiking along the AT here. I'm just south of the Pinnacles picnic area now. Takes a little while to get around all that stuff, but now we're heading south. I got one waypoint that I programmed into my GPS when we get down here, another couple tenths of a mile. It's either a road or maybe a power line or a pipeline heading down the west side of the mountain. I've looked on Google Earth, but I can't really figure out what it is from that, so we'll see what it is when we get down here. It's going to be a little bit further. Nine-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm still on the AT. The elevation is 3280. That's where I came from, and now we know what the clearing was that I was talking about. It's a power line that heads on up, I guess. I think there might be a ranger station up that way. So anyway, heading up that way, and then we're going to continue on southbound this way. There's an erosion point here on the AT, and look at this. Here's another section of this metal armored cable. I saw some of this up on Stony Man too. A bunch of it actually. I'd like to find out what that stuff is. There's where I came from, the AT, heading down here, and then you got this little thing here, little erosion point, and then we're going to keep on heading southbound this way. Okay, now here's another section of this armored pipe. Here's what it looks like normally, but then look at this. Here's a section where, I don't know if somebody did this on purpose or if it just happened, but this metal wrapping, this armor is missing here, and then what's underneath there is metal. It's not copper though, because if it was copper it would have a green tinge to it by now. Now, a metal that corrodes to white is lead. So maybe this was a lead pipe. Maybe it was a lead water pipe, and then this was the armoring around it. Interesting. Yeah, because you can see where people have poked holes in it, like right there, there's a hole in it. Where people like me go like this with their trekking poles and punched a hole in it. Interesting. Probably lead pipe. Okay, here's another piece of this, what I think is lead piping, and it's been cut off. And yeah, you can see that it was, looks like lead pipe on the, it looks like 3 layers. Lead pipe surrounded by something and then armored up with that flat metal armoring. That was some kind of a water pipe that went somewhere. Now, it's worth mentioning, I think, that this, you know, when you look at this, it's wide, and the low sides are armored up with rocks, quite a bit of stonework. Now, this is some kind of an old road or trail, and I guess once upon a time there was some water piping that went somewhere. .3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3150, and let's see, I'm on the AT, that's where I came from. I'm descending some, and there's a hairpin turn here, and I stopped here to get a view out here. It's a nice view, and right down there, Skyline Drive. We're right next to it. But also, I want to point out, maybe you can see that, okay, there's the trail, but you see how wide it is, and look at the low side, how it's armored up with all that stonework. See all those stacked stones there? And it goes around the bend there. This used to be some kind of an old road. 1.4 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,080. Still on the Appalachian Trail. This is a marker that indicates that there's a, if you go up this way, Skyline Drive's right up there. And right up there is a small parking area for maybe 4 or 5 cars that you can park there when you rent the Corbin cabin. You go down the other side of the mountain and rent out Corbin cabin. But I'm going to stay on the AT. Now one thing, this is looking down the west side here, this is Jewell Hollow. And back in the day, I'll show you on the map when I do the map talk, back in the day there was a Appalachian Trail shelter down here about a tenth of a mile or so down the west side here. And another interesting little thing is that right up here is one of the old National Park Service survey benchmarks. So it's possible that this benchmark might have been used because the road would have gone down that way. So they could have used this survey benchmark to help survey that road down to where they wanted to put the shelter in. If you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see a Jewell Hollow hike where I hiked down to where the shelter used to be. It got pulled out decades ago, but there's still some stone foundation work there, a sign, and a freshwater spring that still runs down there. So that's a nice bushwhack hike down that way. But we're not doing any bushwhacking today, folks. We're just going to stay on the AT. We'll do the bushwhacks later on when it gets to be wintertime and we can see more. But for now, we're going to keep heading south on the AT this way. .1 miles into my hike, out of breath, and the elevation here is 3150. It's been kind of up and down like a roller coaster. And this is the intersection with Crusher Ridge. Crusher Ridge starts down there, down Skyline Drive, about a tenth of a mile. I can hear the cars from here. And then it comes up through here, and it heads on up this way. Goes down the west side of the mountain. Park boundaries down there, 2.3 miles. And we're going to continue straight southbound on the Appalachian Trail. That's the white blaze up there on that tree. .3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,040 feet. And still hiking on the Appalachian Trail. That's where it came from. And stopped here because it's a big rock slide area here. And then I know, see how cleared out that is up there? Then I just started checking my maps. I think I'm directly below the Stony Man Overlook up there, which is where I'm headed. But to get there, we got to go this way and pick up a little connector trail that gets us up to the parking lot. Looks like there could be some pretty nice views out this way too, especially in the wintertime. .6 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,090. And this is the intersection with the little connector trail that goes up to the Stony Man Overlook. So that's where I'm headed. There's where I came from along the AT, and this is as far as I'm going on the AT. So when you get to here, you'll see a little sign that says Hughes River Gap Overlook, 75 yards. Take a left. Okay, I'm up on Stony Man Overlook now. Here's a view looking to the west. Things are going to get noisy for the rest of my hike because I'm going to be up here on the overlooks and Skyline Drive, and it's Sunday. There's a lot of people here today in the park. That's where I came out of the woods there at the bend. Up there, Skyline Drive. Big honking parking area here. So I'm headed, this is the farthest point for my hike, and I'm gonna turn around and head back to my car, but I'm gonna follow Skyline Drive because there's a couple of trailheads I'll show you on the way back. Well, I'm standing at the very north end of the overlook. There's Stony Man up there, and here's the northern end. Here's the northern end right here, and right there's that big rock slide area. So the Appalachian Trail is right down there somewhere. Three miles into my hike, there's the Stony Man Overlook, and when you're hiking north, the first thing you'll come to right here is this is a trailhead for Crusher Ridge, right here. We're going to continue on to the north. .1 miles into my hike. The elevation is 3,090, and here's the trailhead, Nicholson Hollow. This one takes you on down into Nicholson Hollow. There's some interesting things down there, including Corbin Cabin and remnants of Nicholson family homesteads. So if you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see those hikes posted. That's where I came from, and we're going to continue on to the north this way. .6 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,090, and this is the trailhead for well, the sign says Nicholson Hollow Trailhead, but the trailhead's actually over here. That concrete post over there is the trailhead. Goes down into Nicholson Hollow. When you get down to the Hughes River, you'll see the Corbin Cabin, which is one that you can rent out from PATC, Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. I've got several hikes posted on my channel going down into Nicholson Hollow, including this trail here. Going to continue on to the north this way. So over there is the parking area for the Nicholson Hollow trailhead, and here's a peek down into Nicholson Hollow right here. Here's another look down into Nicholson Hollow. The Hughes River runs down through there. My understanding from reading some books was that back in the day, before this park was created, it was not advisable to go down into Nicholson Hollow unless you knew somebody down there. .4 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3220, and that's where I came from. And over there on the right hand side is a turnoff into the Pinnacles Administrative Area, authorized vehicles only. And I'm gonna wander back here for a short distance on this little chained off gravel road, see where this goes. Okay, well, I came back in here a short distance around the bend, and I don't really want to have to hike through 4-foot high tall grass and weeds, so I'm going to put this on my to-do list for this winter. I'll come back here and see where this ends up. .7 miles into my hike. The elevation is 3270. I'm just south of the Pinnacles picnic area. Right out there, Skyline Drive. And I came back in here to locate this. This is a reference mark for the benchmark on Stony Man Summit. This says U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey reference mark, Stony Man number 1, 1933. And that arrow points back to Stony Man, back this way. So in 1933, none of these trees were here. You could see Stony Man Summit from here. It's about 2¼ miles in that direction. This is a map of today's hike. It's 2 quadrangle maps pasted together. The upper part is Thornton Gap, 1994, down to here, and then below that is Old Rag Mountain, 1994. And the purpose of this hike was to hike another stretch of the AT in the park that I haven't hiked yet. This is where I parked right here. This is Jewell Hollow Overlook. This is mile marker 36. The AT, there is an AT trailhead there in the parking lot, but it's not indicated. But if you just follow the little dirt path back into the woods, you'll find the AT. Get on the AT and start hiking south. You'll end up, when you go through, you'll end up going through a part of the Pinnacle campground, so keep your eye on the white blazes. And then you'll go around behind the back of the Pinnacle picnic area. And then continue on south on the AT. Now when I got to this point A1, this is where I started, this is where I looked for a cleared path that you can see on Google Earth. You can see there's this cleared area that goes all the way down the side of the mountain. Wasn't sure what it was, but it turned out to be it's a cleared area for a power line that comes up to the side of the mountain. I'm guessing it feeds this station right here, this ranger area. Then I kept following the AT south till I got to here. Now when I got to here, I pointed out that there is an old Park Service benchmark that might have been used for putting in the road that went down this way to Schaefer Hollow Shelter. The shelter's not there anymore though. It was pulled out decades ago. But anyway, that's a pretty good bushwhack if you want to go down there and look for it. I would recommend you do it in the wintertime. And then continuing on south to here, this was the next intersection. This is the Crusher Ridge Trail. This is a fairly long trail. It's like 2¼ miles all the way down the west side of the mountain to the park boundary down to here. And then continuing on to the Stony Man Overlook, which also has signage there that says Hughes River Gap. And this was my turnaround point. And then to come back, I decided to follow the Skyline Drive, which is this red line here. And the first thing you'll come across is the trailhead here for Crusher Ridge. Then just a little ways further to the north, you'll find this trailhead for Nicholson Hollow, which goes down the east side of the mountain into Nicholson Hollow. And then continuing on up, there's a parking area right here on Skyline Drive for people that want to hike this trail right here, Corbin Cabin Cutoff Trail, which goes all the way down to the Corbin Cabin. So if you rent that from PATC, this is where you would park. Alright, then when I got up to here, these are abandoned roads and trails here, but I'm going to go back this winter and see if I can find this Camp Ridge Trail. And then this was the gravel road that I gave up on because the grass was like 4 feet high. I'll go back in the wintertime and take a look at this and see where this ends up. Then I followed this on back up to my car here at Jewell Hollow Overlook. Interesting hike. It turned out to be 5.3 miles and 783 feet of ascent. And that was the hike for today.